And whether he thought she was 13 or not is really not relevant at all. It's just what he did is he took that little girl's chance of childhood away. And he has repeatedly referred to chances that he did not have. And I respectfully disagree with him. He has had numerous chances. He had the chance to not a 12-year-old. He had a chance. We gave him a chance of probation. He had a chance to be a model DOC inmate.
That is my personal favorite ADA out of Louisiana, Tracy Barbara, and we're going to watch 3 parole hearings where Tracy has mic drops and I think just takes the stage. Now, you may have seen a couple of them, but I do have for sure one new one in the mix. With that, let's jump in.
Donald Cavalier, classification manager.
Ashley Bradley, records.
Curtis Thurman, assistant director of mental health.
Dalton King, Reentry Director.
Thank you very much. Mr. Botwell, would you please introduce for yourself for the record, stating your full name and your DOC number?
Christopher Botwell, 516-494.
All right. I'm gonna give you a brief explanation of the process. Before that, we have a couple of guests. I'd like you to introduce yourself to people sitting in the back row.
My name is Robert Bignair.
And how are you related?
Botwell.
You related to Mr. Botwell?
No, we're friends. We're not,
Friend? All right,
Angie Victor, just a good friend.
all right. And are y'all here to speak or just to watch?
Sir?
You here to speak, just to watch?
well, we'll speak.
Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and continue to give you the brief process. I'm going to put some information out there, ask you to verify it. Then we'll conduct a parole interview. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis, who's going to ask the first questions in the interview. After the interview is completed, we'll ask the facility staff if they have anything to say. We'll allow public comments. 3 supporters will be allowed to speak, which will be the guys in the back row. And in opposition, any opposition will be allowed to speak. We have a representative from the DA's office, Miss Tracy Barbara, is going to speak. And then Mr. Botwell, you'll be able to make a statement before the board makes its final vote. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration Christopher Botwell, DOC number 516-494, who's a second felony offender who has been convicted of forcible rape of a 12-year-old juvenile. And on 2/14/07 and on 12/2/17 was revoked. The sentence to serve 20 years hard labor in East Baton Rouge Parish. Your parole eligibility date is September 28, 24. You're not eligible for good time date. And your full term date is 3/28/26. Does that sound correct to you, Mr. Bauer?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis, who's gonna cast the first vote and begin the questions. Go ahead, Mr. Tillis.
How you doing, Mr. Botwell?
I'm doing fine this morning.
Good. How far did you go in high school?
I have my GED.
Oh, you got your GED since you've been there?
I got it in 2008, sir.
2008. I read over your case, and if you're released, where do you plan on living?
In Independence, Louisiana, at a friend of mine's apartment.
Have you located work?
Not at the moment, but there's 2 people that I could talk to as soon as I get out. I know they'll hire me as soon as I go home.
Okay. What did you do while you were there? I saw you took a lot of courses and stuff, sexual abuse, anger.
Yes, sir. So I've completed risk management, Malachi Dads, pre-release. I've gone to AANA. I've completed Speechcraft of Toastmasters, and various spiritual programs I've gone to also.
Okay, while you've been there, what do you normally do? You work or you just?
I work every day. My previous job was administration orderly. I now currently work in maintenance.
See. And how do you feel now about the situation that happened with you?
Well, I feel there's not a day that don't go by that I don't think back on what I did that day. And I know that in my heart, I should have walked away. But I'm an addict, and I'll always be an addict. And I learned that through AA. And I know that the only way that I could stay sober is through support. And I have 3 people here today that support me. I have friends that support me. I have other family that supports me. I've learned through these classes that I've taken how to be a more responsible and accountable individual, how to be a man, how to be responsible in my community and my family, and my work job. I've learned a lot of things since I've been locked up. You know, the first 10 years of my JOS, I didn't have a chance to rehabilitate myself because I bounced around a lot from satellite camp to satellite camp to satellite camp. But since I've been here, I've actually had a chance to sit down, reevaluate my situation, and better myself. And that's a chance that I didn't have before.
See, how long have you been incarcerated?
A total of 17 years. I did actually, so my sentence was a split sentence. They sentenced me to 20 years. They suspended 10. So I did the 10 flat. I went home, but because I didn't take a chance to rehabilitate myself during the first 10 years. Like I said, I bounced around a lot. So I didn't really have a chance, or either that or that I just had too much time to get in any programs at the satellite camp. So they would never let me really try to. The only thing I did accomplish during the first 10 years was to get my GED, which I'm very proud of. So this last 10 years, you know, I went home on a probation. I was doing good for a little while, then I got back on drugs. I came back, and since I've been here, I've been clean and sober now for 3 years, and a lot of that is to do with NAAA, and a lot of it's to do that I just didn't want to live my life like that no more. I got tired of living the same, just doing different things, doing the same thing and getting different results. I just felt like I was just living a never-ending loop. So I made a change.
Okay, so you were let go 10 years and then you came back. Now you've been in 7 years after that.
Yes, sir.
And 3 years you haven't been, you've been drug free.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no more questions.
You got any questions? Ms. Botwell, how did you know the victim?
She was the sister of my brother's girlfriend.
Did you know how old she was?
Yes, sir.
And you were 21 and she was 13 or 12?
I was 21, and at the time I thought she was 13, but my brother told me that she was 12.
I have no further question. All right. I see you have a write-up in prison in December of 2022 for sexual misconduct while in jail. What was that about?
Okay, so that's actually their grandson that I caught that with. His name is Brad Phillips. We got real close, and it was a heated moment, and we did what we did. I can't change it. It happened, but we've developed a really good friendship. It's never happened again. And I met these 3 wonderful people through him, and they're here today to support me. They are like the grandparents I never had.
I've heard you say in the last half hour, last 15 minutes, that at least twice, you know, I wish that had never happened. Oh, you know, you're not thinking about what's happening. That's how you ended up with the 12-year-old. That's how you ended up with the prison rider. Tell us what's going to be different on the street. If, you know, we let you go now, what's going to be different then and why? Why you think you couldn't control yourself then with the initial crime? You couldn't control yourself with this guy in jail. How are you going to be able to control yourself when you come across the next encounter on the street and there's even less security?
All right, so like I said, through these classes, especially risk management is the #1 class that I've learned a lot from. So through risk management, I've learned how to identify my triggers, how to identify my risk factors. And by doing that, I've learned how to walk away when I feel a need to arise. I just walk away, or I might go talk to somebody and tell them what I'm feeling. You know, as long as I have that support there, then I'm fine. I'm okay. So through Malachi Dads, I've learned how to be a man. I learned that a man is not just a male with nothing. You know, a man is somebody that takes responsibility, is accountable. He does the right thing in his community, his home, and his job. And through NAAA, I've learned that I am powerless over my addictions. And I learned that I need to take a fearless and moral self-inventory of myself every day, each and every day, not just once a month or once a year. I need to do it every day because I know that this is the only way that I will be able to overcome what it is that led me to be in this place in the first place.
So you said you had a previous term of probation with a split sentence on this exact case. And looking at the record, it shows that probation was revoked because you failed to register, you failed to notify, and you absconded supervision.
Yes, sir.
What went wrong in that case? I think you might have touched on it. You said
Yes,
something
sir.
about drugs a minute ago.
Yes, sir. I got back on drugs real heavy, and I ran off. I moved somewhere else, and I didn't notify the registration department that I was moving. And because of that, I felt like that I was going to get in trouble, so I just stayed on the run.
That was another bad decision right there.
It was.
Do you know now that, you know, the probation officers are not all there to put you in jail? They're there to help you through this, and that they, you know, the more successful cases they get, the better they feel about their job. It's not about putting everybody in jail. If you'd have gone in there and told them you're having trouble with drugs, you'd have got help for the problems you were having.
And that's exactly what he told me at my revocation hearing.
Well, that's
He
the
told me if
fact.
I would have came to him, he would have helped me.
So you know better now. We're not gonna have that again. Right.
Listen, everything that I've made, every bad decision I've made in my life, I've learned from. And I'm sitting before you today, a changed man. I'm not the same person I was when I came back to prison. I'm not the same person I was when I came to prison the first time. And if I'm not perfect, I make mistakes. We're all human. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm better than anybody else.
Okay.
But if y'all give me this chance today, I promise y'all I will not let y'all down.
Right. That's all questions I have. Warden or staff down there, do y'all have any comments to make on this case?
Well, how you doing, Mr. Danny? Christopher's been with us a couple of years now, and he's done some, you know, positive things since he's been here. But I definitely think that there are some things that he needs to continue to work on to better himself. That's all I got.
Right. Okay, today you have a couple of people in support. Let's start with the man to the left, Mr. Vignair.
You can step up.
Can you say your full name for the record? Because I didn't get it in the first round.
I'm sorry, my name is Robert L. Vignair, Jr.
All right. What do you have to tell us today about Mr. Botwell?
Well, by Mr. Botwell, since we've known him, since my grandson has been incarcerated here, we've gotten to know Chris. And, you know, after a long thought process and stuff between me and my wife, you know, if he gets out on parole, we're going to do all we can to help him. You know, We're gonna try to keep him on the straight and narrow, you know, but he's a grown man. We can only advise him and take time with him and try to show him. But that's all we're able to do, because we're not young folks anymore. We get a little age on us, but we'll try to help him as much as we can.
How long have you been knowing him?
Probably maybe a month or two, be a little over 2 years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
And we get the next lady. Can you give us your full name, please?
Angelina McNair,
And you're just a friend also?
correct.
All right, what do you have to tell us about Mr.
What we know of Chris, he's a wonderful person. And I think if he has the opportunity to get out, we can keep him straight 100%. And he's a good person.
All right, thank you for your comment.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, but
Unless you had something else you want to throw in there real quick?
well, this, I can't think right now, but hey, we're gonna keep him straight,
Okay.
try to get him a job. He got a place to stay.
Okay. A place to stay where, with y'all?
No, he's got his own, he's gonna have his own apartment.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And.
Did you want to speak, man?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, that's all the people that we had in support. Today we have in opposition, Ms. Barbara from the DA's office.
Good morning, Chairman Bauer, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Freeman. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this morning. I am Tracy Barbara. I'm the First Assistant District Attorney in East Baton Rouge Parish. My comments will be very brief this morning. I believe the record is clear that this individual raped a 12-year-old, and whether he thought she was 13 or not is really not relevant at all. It's just what he did is he took that little girl's chance of childhood away. And he has repeatedly referred to chances that he did not have. And I respectfully disagree with him. He has had numerous chances. He had the chance to not rape a 12-year-old. He had a chance. We gave him a chance of probation. He had a chance to be a model DOC inmate. He had a chance to be a model probationer. What did he do? He absconded. He may blame it on the fact that he was an addict. But in my opinion, and I would respectfully ask you to not give him another chance. I believe he is a danger to society. He has a full-term release date, less than 2 years away. Based upon the facts of this case, based upon the chances he did not take advantage of, the things he did or has done while incarcerated and while given the opportunity to live a quote free life on probation, he has not done anything which would support you allowing him to be released on parole. And I would respectfully ask that you deny parole today. Thank you.
Thank you. We have other opposition from the sheriff who replied in a letter form. So, Mr. Botwell, it's your turn to give your final closing statement before we take the vote about why you think today would be the day to get parole for you.
So, first of all, I would like to say that I don't deny anything that the DA just said. I did have multiple chances to do the right thing. What I would like to say today is, if I could take it all back, if I could go back in time right now, I would. I would walk out of that door that night. And none of this would, I wouldn't even be sitting in front of y'all today telling y'all this. I have had to live with what I did every day of my life. Every day. And for that, I'm sorry. But I'm asking y'all today, if y'all give me this chance, I will not let y'all down. I don't want to live the way that I've been living. I want to do the right thing. I want to be a successful, productive member of society. I don't want to be that monster anymore. So I'm asking y'all to give me this chance. And thank you for the opportunity.
All right, now we're gonna vote. Mr. Tillis, your case, you take the first vote.
Mr. Bidwell, I really appreciate what you've done. You have, it seems like you have remorse. You've been going through some programs that are helping you, and I'm really pleased to see that. I think at this time, I'm gonna have to deny, because I think you need some more time or some more treatment for drug abuse and sexual abuse at this time. So my vote is to deny.
Raymond?
Okay, due to the recent sex offense in prison, the strong opposition from the victim and the DA, and the harm that she caused that little girl who had problems for many, many years and still is, my vote is to deny.
I'm gonna concur with my colleagues for the same reasons and vote to deny. Mr. Botwell, today your parole release has been denied. This concludes our business no, it doesn't. We're in this year at 9:24 a.m. Thank you all very much. Warden will move on to the next guy shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not all heroes wear capes. That goes for Tracy Barbara, my personal favorite ADA. I just love her. I cannot get, she's been so consistent year after year. She shows up for these hearings and she stands so strong with the survivors. Really, what I want to do is make a playlist of Tracy because she never disappoints. I just love how she comes in there and leaves a mic drop of epic proportions, squashing that Roach's last hope of getting out 2 years early. She's like, first of all, she was 12, not 13. Not like it makes a difference. He ruined any chance of her having a normal childhood. And thank goodness she saved the day. This is the first time I'm saying this board together, and this was my first and only impression so far, and I was not impressed. Maybe, take it easy. Maybe, they'll have to learn to, oh, I'm not gonna let that that performance get in the way. At least they had a unanimous no. That's the importance of the ADA. Imagine this hearing without Tracy there. Just think about it. It would have the survivor needs it. She has that right to have Tracy stand up for her and talk on behalf of her, and I just man, some people heroes, they can be whatever, an athlete, a musician, an actor, but mine is Tracy, the ADA. Anyways, so yeah, he's got 2 more years left in the 20-year sentence. It's good to see that he's gonna have to serve the whole thing. It's just so ridiculous. It never gets old listening to these roaches come up with their if I could take it back, I would never. I would just have left the room. If I could take it back, I would. It's really 18 years of sitting, rotting in prison, and that's the best you can come up with. You would even say the words, "Well, I thought she was 13, but my brother told me she was so." Who would even say that? It gives you insight into the mind of these monsters. They're not wired like you and I, and really the safest place for them is to be in prison. I didn't catch his risk score. It's probably low. Maybe they mentioned it, maybe I missed it, maybe they skipped over it. I don't know. But anyways, there's not much to go on here. I mean, Richard threw in a few links, but it was more like arrest records when it happened in 20s. So, but yeah, I'm happy to see a denial. And with that, I'll let you go.
But you were also able to look away. David cannot look away. David looks in the mirror every day and sees the leftovers of what she did to him. He was sentenced to a life of disfigurement. And it is just.
We just heard from my favorite assistant district attorney, Tracy Barbara, and she is talking about a crime that took place in 2005 to a 4-year-old child. We're going to unpack it with the details at the end, and I have to warn you that this case is traumatic. With that, let's jump in.
My name is Jeananne Mills. My DLC number is 501067.
Ms. Mills, you're before this panel today for parole consideration. You are currently serving a 40-year sentence for second-degree cruelty and second-degree battery. You have a parole eligibility date, March 10, 2025, a good time date, March 13th, 2038, and a full term date of March 8th, 2045. Does that sound correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you think we should parole you today?
One of the main reasons that I did come back for parole and attempt to come out is because I have been taking programs for some time. And actually, there came a time and there came a season that even as I took different classes, and then I went to Tulane University, there were so many things that impacted me. I went to Life's Healing Choices. That was one of them, Tulane University, as well as the Victims Impact. And I'm not going to say that I did not hurt for the choices that I made when I first came, but I really needed to be accountable, and I needed to understand that, you know what, you did this, you made this choice. Nobody made this choice but you. And I couldn't get past that for many years. And then when I got over my pity party, then I said, you know what, it's time for a change. So as I began to go to Tulane and I began to learn so much about psychology and the different things of how to talk to, care for, and actually really love somebody unconditionally. When I went to Life Healing Choices, it made me look at something important, that I need to examine myself. I need to correct some things in my life. I needed to work on some things. And I began to first dealing with my anger. I went to substance abuse, and then I went on a little bit further and I began to make wise choices. I began to practice them. I began to get closer with the women in prison. And I began to see past me, you know, as I looked, especially through Victims Impact, and they also allowed me to just see me, what I did. There are no words to ever express how disappointed I was in myself then. And I pray to God somehow, somewhere, that soul, David, will heal, as well as the community, because I made that choice, because of the things I did. But today I am working, and I have worked, and I've been using wisdom, and I've been mindful of others, and I have been contributed to this compound as much as possible, whether it be mentoring and teaching and planning the Bible study, as well as I've been doing the prayer meditation, as well as I deal with a lot of women, and I try to encourage them not to make the choices I did, because I do share with them. Yes, I do. I've learned a lot. While a lot of people may say corrections was a bad thing, for me, corrections helped me to see me. Tulane helped me to become a person again. Life's Healing Choices help me to feel again and look at me. And most of all, victim impact, let me see who I hurt. And it didn't look good, but I can truly say today, they have taught me, and I'm still learning what true compassion is. And I would like to continue what I have began here in the free world. And that's why I came to try to go home again.
Warden Thomas, at this point, would you like to make a comment before we go to the supporters?
Sure. Yeah, as Ms. Mills had mentioned, she really does focus a lot of her time with her studies. And I know probably Ms. Pratt or Mr. Salvaggio will also speak to that, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on that. But she does really spend a good amount of her focus and time on that and mentoring some of the other ladies in the housing units. She has only had 5 disciplinary reports since she's been here in the 10+ years. So overall, she really doesn't cause a whole lot of trouble for us at the facility. And I know she had recently finished the victim impact class, and she had also mentioned how helpful that class was and what an impact it left on her. So,
was the 2014 incident, did that take place at your facility, Warden?
yes, ma'am.
At this point, we will, is that all you wanted to say, Warden? We'll go to Tracy Pratt with Operation Restoration.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I would first like to note that Sarita Stibe has just contacted me, and she had to have an urgent dental procedure. To envelop her in our reentry program and assistance, and we would be honored to help her on that journey.
Thank you very much. So Marco Salvaggio, I'm sorry.
Salvaggio.
Salvaggio, that's okay.
Sir, we'll get about 3 minutes if you don't mind. Keep it short.
Yep.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank you for providing me this time to talk a little bit about Ms. Mills and why I strongly support her granting of parole. So I'm a professor at Tulane University, and I'm also the director of the Tulane SOPA Social Sciences program at the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. I administer this program in partnership with Operation Restoration, so I work directly with Tracy Pratt in administering the program. We offer a Bachelor of Arts degree in the She has a lot of support from the other formerly incarcerated students, and of course, she has a lot of support from the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, Tracy Barbara with East Baton Rouge District Attorney's Office is here to speak. And ma'am, if you'll go ahead and address the panel, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Tracy Barbara for the 19th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Let me first begin with saying I have the utmost respect for the Tulane staff that have spoken to you this morning on what their entire program is doing. I, as I'm sure all of you, feel that if every individual who was eligible for parole would receive the benefit of what Ms. Mills has received, the community would be in a much better place. I am very happy to hear that Ms. Mills is mentoring individuals in the prison community. It's very uplifting to hear that. I need to tell you that I spoke with Sue Burney last night, who was the prosecutor who handled this case. I was at the district attorney's office at the time it happened. And Sue shared with me and asked me to please tell you that in her 30 years as a prosecutor, it was the most horrific cruelty case she had ever handled. I was a felony assistant in the section at the time this case came up, and truly believe that if Judge Anderson had the opportunity to give Ms. Mills more than 40 years, he would have, but it was the maximum for this offense. It is just unimaginable to me that someone could do that to a 4-year-old innocent child. I know you have read the record and you are painfully, and I do believe you are painfully aware of what happened. It was not a single act of abuse. It went on for almost 4 months. And David's biological mother was in need. She needed help with her children, and she entrusted David to Jeananne Mills' care. In my comments, I told you that the pictures of what happened were embedded in everyone's mind. And as I scrolled through the pre-parole investigation and I saw that the photos were included, my copy was a black and white copy. And I scrolled quickly. I didn't need to see it again because the pictures are vivid in my mind. And I was able to look away. And I'm sure as when y'all looked through it, I know you looked at them so you could appreciate the full impact of what happened, but you were also able to look away. David cannot look away. David looks in the mirror every day and sees the leftovers of what she did to him. He was sentenced to a life of disfigurement. And it is just, Ms. Mills mentioned accountability in her statement to you. And it is my sincere and honest belief that she needs to continue to be accountable until her good time parole supervision release, when she will be 74 years of age. And that is my ask of you. So please don't think that 20 years is enough. Let her continue doing the good she's doing in the community, but still being accountable for what she did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barbara. We appreciate your time with us this morning. This case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis, and we're going to allow him to do his interview.
Good morning, Ms. Mills. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm okay.
Good. How long have you been incarcerated?
I believe almost 20 years.
20 years.
I believe almost, sir.
Almost 20 years.
Yes, sir.
I saw your classes and you did take anger management.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were some of the best classes that you liked, that you took?
I took substance abuse. I took some ones that I liked it. Are you saying, sir?
Yes. Yeah.
The main ones was the victim's impact. The main ones that impacted me. The anger management. Yes, I did take that. It also left words of encouragement and thought and examination. It was substance abuse. I took that. It was okay, but the anger management, it went to the heart of it. It's much like victim impact, but to be honest with you, victim impact was even better.
I see. Why did the mother leave the child with you? You related to the mother, or just a friend, or what?
I was just a friend, sir.
Mm-hmm.
She would come and she would stay with me, and then she would just leave and go off for weeks at a time, and then after a while she just would disappear. And then finally I tracked her down to ask her, what she was going to do. And she was like, I'm going to take care of everything. And then she finally set it up for me to keep him until she got herself together, because she got incarcerated in I believe it was Syracuse, New York, something happened about a theft or something. I'm not sure what it was. And so after she came out of the incarceration, she saw me, then she just disappeared for a while again. So I was trying to wait for her to get stabled so that she could get David. But she just would go and she would never come back. And finally, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And then at this last time, I hadn't seen Stephanie for, oh God, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 months before this happened with the incarceration.
I see. At the time, or have you ever done drugs?
I did do drugs at one time. Yes, I did. I took pills.
I see. What happened to the fight you had while you were incarcerated?
What happened with the fight that I had while I was incarcerated in 2014?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about, aren't you?
Yes.
They put me in a room with a lady. It was a young lady. And as I would come in, she was pretty angry because they separated her from one young lady and they put me in with her. When I went into the room, a lot of times she would just go through my stuff. And then eventually she got my rap sheet and then she put it all over the dorm so that they could see it, because I had one lock for one locker and I didn't have a lock for the other one. I didn't know it at the time. No, I didn't. But I would come back and then my cups would be gone or something would be missing from the bed or pictures be gone. And she was like, I just hate old people. I just hate them. And I was like, okay. And then finally one day I went, I guess I was going to church or something. I came back and she was in the room and she had taken everything and thrown everything. I guess they had a fight from what I understand. And when I came up there, she was arguing with me. She hit me. I fought her. I was in the wrong. What made it so wrong is they told me that she was angry. I just hope to God that she wasn't so angry. I tried to go to Miss Moore and ask her to separate us because I was so worried. And I went to her 2 or 3 times and I asked her to separate us because Toya kept touching everything. She kept just tearing things up in the room. She kept stealing my stuff. Then that time I had found out later that my rap sheet was now all over the dorm. But that's not the reason I would trigger her at that time. I too was full of anger. I too was accountable. I'm not going to say because she hit me first because it was wrong. I had a choice. I had a choice.
I see. I see. I read through your file and I see that you are making some changes and I'm really pleased with that. And you're making some good choices now. And I hope you continue to. I have no more questions.
Mr. Freeman, do you have any questions?
When you out on the street,
No, I was not on mental illness medicine at all, nor seeing anybody.
I have no further questions.
Okay, I think we've done a thorough interview, and at this time, Mr. Tillis will be voting.
This time my vote is to deny. And my reason is I think that I can't get out of my head some of the things that happened to that little boy. And I think you need just some more time to control your anger and help others if you can.
Mr. Freeman.
Okay, my vote is also to deny. My reasons are you have not served nearly enough time for the offense you have committed. And I have to say this, I've been in law enforcement 37 years. I had to quit looking at the picture. I mean, I could not bear what that young man is going through. And he's gonna go through that the rest of his life. So my vote is 100% to deny.
Ms. Mills, my vote today is to deny your parole based on law enforcement opposition, victim opposition, and the nature of the crime. You'll have an opportunity to finish your studies there at Tulane and I believe right back in several years, okay? But today your vote has been denied. The time is now 10:25 and we're going to conclude our hearing. Thank you, Warden, and staff there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a difference it makes to have an assistant district attorney like Tracy Barbara show up and speak from the heart. She looked at those pictures and you can tell even now talking about it, it was putting her on the verge of tears. And we have seen her many times and we have seen her handle traumatic cases, and all you don't need to look at the pictures. You know, I know by listening to her and seeing her, feeling her emotions, seeing her on the verge of tears, just how horrible, just how terrible it was, what she had done, what this monster had done to a 4-year-old child under her care. And we'll read through it. We'll go through the details. Thank you, Richard, for sharing it. You know, even Mr. Pete Freeman is law enforcement for all the years, and he's seen everything as well, mirrored that. And every once in a while, Mr. Freeman has a mic drop. You wouldn't know it by listening to the first, you know, when she opens up talking about her crime or whatever. It's like, I don't know. What did she do? What did she do? It's like, what's the big deal? Why is she locked up, right? What she even talk about? There was nothing said. There was no apology. There's no empathy. Can you imagine doing that to a child and then 20 years later you come up for parole and you can't even shed a tear? Everyone else, Tracy is on the verge of tears, a woman who has seen it all. And she is on the verge of tears, and the woman who perpetrated this act can't even show emotion. And then you have these two people, whoever they are, they come up to support her, and they're all butterflies. And I fast forwarded for you. You can thank me later. If you don't like it, let me know in the comments section. Look, I can have it either way. But I couldn't bear to listen to them ramble and talk and this and butterflies and turtles and talking about nothing. And it's all money driven. It's my understanding. It's all a money scheme, not a scam. It's a scheme. It's completely legal, legitimate, encouraged by the government. It's all it's still taxpayer funded, right? Send someone out from here, put them into school, like taxpayer dollars. Let's do this. It's great. And they're talking her up and how wonderful everything is. And they have the audacity to, as soon as they're done their sales pitch, which is how I look at it, they sign off. Tracy listens to them talk. She even refers to Miss Mills by name. But they sign off. It's so important that you should have heard what they're talking about her, the most amazing human being in the world. And she's so important that they can't stay there to listen to the final results of the hearing. They don't have time. No. They're a bunch of phonies, in my opinion. That's my impression. Come on. You can't have the respect to sit through it for another 15 minutes. You're too busy. Tracy, she goes to the end. Not only does she go to the end, but she has that that integrity to say thank you. She's the last one that signs off. Like I said, if we could pack our courts with ADAs like her that actually cared, think of a world we'd live in. Bring in a voice. Let's read through this. This was written when the crime happened, March 10th, 2005. Woman abuses another son to point of needing face reconstructed. These titles, the strangest titles, right? It's like, why is it always word salad? Why, when you read these headlines, you have to try to figure out what they're saying? And this is their woman abuses another son. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what it is. So let's go read it. Baton Rouge. Now listen to this. Just listen to this. Baton Rouge police say it's the most horrific case of child abuse they've ever seen. A woman caring for someone else's child allegedly picked up the 4-year-old boy and dropped him on his head repeatedly. Police documents say he's hurt so badly, facial reconstructive surgery will not repair all the damage. The silver lining is that the boy is in New Orleans hospital and police hear he's going to be okay. Isn't that the most vague word? He's going to be okay. You mean he's going to live? The rest of this story is very graphic and could be disturbing to sensitive audiences. Baton Rouge police use few words in describing what happened. Corporal Don Kelly described it as an absolute living hell. Corporal Kelly says a neighbor in the apartment complex on Avenue called police saying he heard a child's screams. Officer rushed to the apartment. They were not going to leave until they saw that child with their own eyes and made sure he or she was okay, says Kelly. But he wasn't okay. Officers say they found the 4-year-old boy seated in a high chair facing a wall. His head was wrapped in gauze and he was blindfolded. Bruises and cuts were all over his body from months of abuse. He has suffered more pain in the last 2 to 3 months than anybody should suffer in a lifetime. And these people more concerned about how their name is written in the profile than this little boy who was tortured. Release her so that we can make more money from the taxpayer dollars. Drives me nuts. It's sick. A police affidavit says the child had several injuries, including broken and fractured ribs. Both collarbones were broken, and his right femur. That big bone in the leg was also broken. But what could have been deadly was an injury to his head, which caused bleeding inside his skull. It was without a doubt just the most senseless, horrific case of child abuse of any of them had been exposed to, says Kelly, of the officers who discovered the boy. And the woman police say committed the abuse. She was 40 years old when she did this. She's not the boy's mother, police say. Mothers left the boy in the care a few months ago. Can you? I can't. I have a 3-year-old who's turning 4 in just a few months, and I simply cannot. You know, it upsets me, says Kelly. It hurts me, and it goes to show that you really don't know somebody. Bianca says she always knew Mills as a Christian woman who would minister to people in the area known as Mall City. Billy also says she would occasionally watch the boy when Mills would run errands, and Mills would ask her not to disturb him. She would tell me she done fed him and done cleaned him up, and he's just down for a nap already, so I just had to be there, says Billy. Billy says she did see the boy. He was very friendly and well-mannered. In fact, Corporal Kelly said the boy won the officers' hearts because despite being in pain, despite the months of abuse, Once he was away from Mills, officers say the boy began to smile and laugh with them. You know, it's these type of cases. Again, I'm just going to go back to the idea. Imagine if the ADA was not there to speak. Imagine monsters exist, evil exists. Certain people have to be locked up forever, and people who are motivated, again, in my opinion, by pure greed, the ones that come up in support of her by pure greed, in my opinion. And then it's like you have good and evil. It's like you could see. That's the thing that's so interesting to me in these parole hearings. I feel like you can see that. You know, these were not even family members that were trying to make it. These are just people that were, in my opinion, it's pure greed. They want another client. Who cares the risk to the community? Wonder if they looked at the pictures. I wonder if they took the time to look at her crimes. I do wonder. Now, when will she get out? Apparently, the judge had a maximum sentence. I don't know why they didn't charge her with attempted murder or something more, but I guess it was a plea deal. They just, wanted to get it over with. Let's see. Okay, so right, I double checked, right? So she had a 40-year sentence. Her good time date is 2038, which would be after she served, I guess that's about, I'm not good at math, 2005 locked up, 20 years, whatever it is. Her full term date is 2045. Again, so she was locked up when she was 40 years old. She'd be 80 when she gets out. It makes her, at that point, 80, you would say maybe not dangerous anymore, although I disagree. There are plenty of 80-year-olds that can appear very grandmotherly and can be put in charge of a helpless infant again. And you can't explain this. And again, she was pictured as someone trust, of course, out preaching the God's word. And how do you do this? This is someone who's clearly dangerous. You cannot trust someone like this out in the community again.
I am very grateful for one of those arrests that occurred after 1987, because it was one of those arrests that led to us getting his DNA. And he spent 24 years walking the streets as a free man, getting in some trouble. The victim in this case has, as she wrote in her letter, received a sentence much longer than his, and she spent 24 years walking around not knowing if the man who raped her so violently, this wasn't just an act of sexual aggression. I mean, he beat her and physically injured her.
As my favorite ADA stated, this man walked around for 24 years free until a DNA test proved that he was the one to do that to her. Now he is up for his first parole hearing. Will the ADA statement keep him locked up? With that, let's jump.
Who was a first felony offender who was convicted of forcible rape. And on October 26, 2017, was sentenced to serve 20 years hard labor in East Baton Rouge Parish. Your parole eligibility date is 3/26/24. Your good time date is 7/28/27. And your full term date is 7/29/37. That sounds correct to you, Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Pete Freeman, who's gonna cast the vote, the first vote, and will begin our interview.
All right, Mr. Jones, how old are you?
47.
I got 59, okay.
Oh, but Lord, you. I'm way off.
65.
Yeah, 65.
He's how old?
65,
Born in 1964, so he's 59.
and 65.
59, born in 64, I got 59.
Okay, 59.
Okay, what's your educational level?
12th grade.
Okay, and how long you been in jail on this charge?
About, I want to say 7 or 8 years.
12 and a half.
Mhm.
Okay, did you know the victim?
No, sir.
Do you take responsibility for what happened?
Yes, indeed, fully.
Okay, tell me what went on, what happened?
Well, I got drunk one night and acting crazy. Went out there to the Belmont Hotel looking for a guy over there and ran across the lady. By me being full of that alcohol, I just did something stupid. Something that I don't do.
Okay, and you were originally charged with aggravated rape and you pled to forcible, am I correct?
Sir?
You were charged with aggravated rape, but you pled to forcible rape.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you got a pretty big break right there.
Yes, sir.
What would you tell the victim? I mean, she was
Sorry.
abused pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm very, very sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, I had an alcohol problem. I needed some help with that too.
I see you got lots of hospital trips and you're in a wheelchair. What's the diagnosis, Warden?
What?
You know anything about his medical?
He gets on dialysis 3 times
Yeah,
a
he-
week.
The only thing I can tell you, Mr.
Serious
Freeman,
medical.
is he's got some serious medical issues and he's dialysis 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, thank you, Warden. You have 6 children. Do you have contact with your children?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you contact with all of them or just a few?
Yes, sir.
All right. I see you got arrested back to 1981, correct? Which is
Yes, sir.
part of the first felony offense.
Yeah.
You have opposition, strong opposition from the sheriff, the DA, the victim. She's not gonna attend, but she has a letter and I'm gonna find it before we finish because I want to read her letter.
Yes, sir.
And you've had 4 write-ups. Of course, one of them was on 7/8/23.
Mhm.
What was that about?
I really couldn't tell you right now though. Yeah,
That was a rule 4 disobedience, 7/5/23.
Okay, and you had the same charge on 4/27/22. And then you had back in 21, a 22 and a 30C. What is a 30C?
General prohibited behavior.
Okay, do you know what exactly happened in this offense?
On February 22nd, approximately 10:15, Antoinetta Tate pulled the weekly thread report from Fresenia's employee phone list. Upon reading the report, Charles Jones used his tablet, attempted to place call to a number belonging to Fresenia's dialysis. He tried to call one of the dialysis techs.
Okay, all right. All right. You refused your $100. Why did you refuse your $100 pre-police? Is that because of your health?
yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever take any of the sex offender classes?
No, sir, not yet.
Under the law, you were eligible at 33%, which is why we're here today.
Mhm.
Tell me, why should I let you out?
Well, if God raised my grandkids, get my health back in order, get straight.
Okay. I'm gonna read this letter. This is the last thing I have, Danny. Well, the warden can come after me. But, just a letter from the victim. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to express my opinion. Reasons for requesting that Charles A. Jones remain in prison. It is my belief that Charles Jones committed a crime and now has to pay the consequences. In May 1987, my life was vastly shattered because of his actions, which caused me and still causing me much turmoil, complications with daily living, medical complications, physical and mental complications, and financial limitations. He received a fair trial and hearing, etc. There was DNA. She also matched the burn on your mark, the burn mark on your arm. That night happened because of no harm I did to him. I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was him who did the violence and injustice to me. He remained a free man from that night until his criminal unlawfulness actions caught up with him, which caused him to be arrested. And more consideration for a reduction of time due to his age or medical conditions, I still say no, plead no. I plead no relief. But I do ask that he be cared for his medical needs. Also to mention that I have a long medical history due to his actions upon me in 1987. They continue to worsen, and at age 68, I asked to consider what position in life he had put me in, and confinement and limited restricted life I must live. Please consider these facts. I did no wrong. I am the victim. He is the offender. He is the abuser. He asks us not to let him out. Okay, so that's the letter from the victim. Very, very, and then they had a back. I skipped page 2. But I think we get the gist of what you did to this young lady at that time and what harm it caused her throughout her life.
Yes, sir.
Ward, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Freeman.
Ward? He froze.
He's just checking his notes. Yeah, but get that covered.
I want him to be successful upon his release. So he needs to get those things done.
Okay, can you restate that? You were froze, Ward.
I think he needs to work on his GED. He
So that's what we're.
Maybe them, right? Maybe them.
Okay, back live?
Yes, sir.
Keep cutting out.
We missed the whole thing.
You missed the whole thing. You started, and all we heard was GED.
We're gonna try to do this again. Like I said, I think he needs his GED. He definitely needs his sex offender treatment and also victim impact. Without those 3 things, I think he's gonna be real difficult for him to be successful upon his release. So he needs to work on that.
Thank you, Ward.
Mr. Tillis, are you finished? I'm finished. You got any question, Mr. Tillis?
No, I'm good.
All right. I also, all I can tell you is that I'm looking at criminal history, and you have 10 arrests, and out of the 10 that I'm looking at, 8 of them had a victim in there. So I'm a little concerned with that. As Mr. Freeman said, we have strong opposition from the law enforcement. Mr. Jones, this would be your chance to.
His son.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Let's hear from, Mr. Ronnie Bologna, your son, first.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Good, good. Would you state your name for the record and your relationship with Mr. Jones?
Okay, my name is Ronnie Bologna Senior, and I'm his stepson.
Okay. We got you.
You got something you want to say?
Oh, well, basically, I just want to put a word in about his character. He came in my life probably at eight years old. Worked 2 full-time jobs until I was an adult. I'm a lawn care business owner because I saw him working at Brick full-time every day. So just want to put in a good word about his character, the man that I saw.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Jones, you will have a chance to give us your final statement.
Yes, sir.
We'll hear from Miss Tracy.
Good morning again, Tracy Barbara with the East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney's Office. As the warden stated, we are too very concerned about his lack of sex offender treatment, GED.
Tracy, so we're trying to get the offender to give his statement and let you be last.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. I remember the changes
Took
now.
you earlier the last time. I was trying to get it in the right order this time.
Yes, I recall.
Thank you. So we'll let him make his statement and you'll make yours.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
The question?
The question is, this is a final statement before we make a vote that you get to tell us anything if you want to that
Yes, sir.
might influence the vote your way. I'm sure you want to be ready to get out. Just tell us why you think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm ready. But like I said, I want to tell the victim I'm very, very sorry for what happened that night. And I want to get the chance to get back out onto the street where I can take care of my grandkids and my family. And I appreciate y'all for coming. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll go to Miss Tracy Barbara with the DA's office for the final.
Thank you. As the warden pointed out, and we absolutely concur, we are very concerned about his lack of sex offender treatment and GED. It sounds very weird coming from a prosecutor, but yes, his criminal history is concerning. I am very grateful for one of those arrests that occurred after 1987 because it was one of those arrests that led to us getting his DNA. And he spent 24 years walking the streets as a free man, getting in some trouble. The victim in this case has, as she wrote in her letter, received a sentence much longer than his, and she spent 24 years walking around not knowing if the man who raped her so violently, this wasn't just an act of sexual aggression. I mean, he beat her and physically injured her. And she spent 24 years walking around not knowing if the man who did that to her was around the next corner or behind her in a vehicle. So again, we are grateful for that one arrest that led to the DNA sample. We, quite frankly, again, we're just in a situation where we don't think he has served enough time. And I believe his good time release date is in July of 2027. Although 3 years may seem like a long time to him, it's really not that far away. And if this man is going to be released from prison, we believe a more appropriate release would be on good time parole as opposed to receiving the benefit of parole. And again, we did give him a very lenient sentence, and he is lucky he's not serving life in prison right now.
Yes, ma'am.
So we oppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The board's now ready to vote. Let's begin with Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Jones, due to the heinous nature of the crime, as Ms. Barbera pointed out, you out for 24 years and this poor lady has been suffering ever since 1987. And furthermore, you definitely need sex offender treatment if they will even accept you. And you have a good time gate, as stated, in 3 years. My vote today is to deny.
Mr. Tillis?
I concur with Mr. Freeman and I agree. And my vote is to deny also.
And I vote to deny also based on the past criminal arrest record, the violent nature of the current offense, and the opposition from the law enforcement and district attorney. Also suggests that you get the GED, do the victim's impact and sex offender classes before you come up for a good time release. So that today your parole has been denied. And that will conclude our business in your case at 11:13 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And here it is. We got to see 3 classics by Tracy, my favorite ADA. Who is your favorite? I mean, what sticks out with Tracy, I just think, is that it's not an act. It's real. She really cares. She loves her job. She loves standing up for the survivors, for the victims. She does it passionately, compassionately. And she's like, and with grace. And I know some of you joke, man, do you I mean, it's what's not to love, right? And look at this. This is I tried to research. I tried to find information. I didn't ask Richard. Maybe I'll do another episode after Richard takes a dive into the research. But you don't see a lot on her publicly, which again I think just states the fact that she's staying out of the limelight. She's not doing this for any other reason. I mean, that's clear through her record. She hasn't, she's still ADA. She hasn't run for political office. She hasn't just retired, which most do. Most is just like a journeyman thing. You become an ADA so you can get a job somewhere else. You can make partner at a law firm. You can run for, I don't know, senator or something. But in this case, she's just, here's what I found. 31 years later, this is when she first started. And March, this was written in 2021. March is Women History Month, a unique time to celebrate the vast impact of women leaders, both throughout history and today. First Assistant District Attorney Tracy Barbara has been a confident, dependable force in our office for nearly 31 years. Now she'd be going on, I guess, 35 years. Born and raised in New Orleans, Tracy moved to Baton Rouge with her newborn son after graduating from Dominican High School and enrolled in LSU. She graduated with a bachelor's in political science in just 3 years and immediately entered LSU law for another 3. While Tracy's first full-time job was as a mom to her son, Christian, this office has been her only place of full-time employment, and we couldn't be more thankful for her hard work and dedication. One of Tracy's fondest memories is being sworn in by Shenny Joseph in 1990. Tracy, you are an inspiration to each of us. Thank you for your leadership. I couldn't agree more myself. That's incredible. I wish we could find more. There should be a biography on her. They should do interviews. These are the heroes that we don't talk about. I think it's with their special teachers. There are so many fields, so many occupations that don't get any praise, that don't get the credit that they deserve, and yet we see it instead spewed on those who shouldn't, in my opinion, have any. But here is someone who clearly should get the praise, because to be able to, all these years later, and just to talk about and to see her nearly break down in tears, and she has seen everything, she has seen it all, but to still have her heart and soul in it as if it's like her first day on the job, that takes a very special human being, and someone that I think probably does make a major difference to everyone that she stands by to protect. And with that, I'll let you go.